So today I want to talk about that infamous Phil Spencer interview. You know the one that's got people running around saying that Game Pass is dead on console. It's not going to grow much more there. It's only going to grow on PC and mobile from now on. And oh yeah, you're going to have to pay more for your Game Pass subscription, your consoles, and your games on Xbox. That interview. I know I'm a little late on this, but it is what it is, people. I'm here. I'm doing it now. All right. So let's dive in. So this interview came out of the Wall Street Journal Tech Live conference, which was held last Wednesday, and there were a number of things disclosed here, including that Game Pass is profitable.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I know. Look, I'm a consumer and a gamer. I don't really care about their overall revenue and what they're making on their end. I care about my own wallet. Yes, some of you out there are going to say, but don't you care about Game Pass existing and flourishing and doing this? Yes, outside of that, though, I really don't care about this stuff. I'm not going to beat my chest over a huge corporation making money. That is what I'm saying here. So that aside, he disclosed the Game Pass is in fact profitable, making about 15% of the total Xbox revenue overall, which is around $1.9 billion annually. He stated the Game Pass as an overall part of our content and services revenue is probably about 15%. He goes on to say, I don't think it gets bigger than that. I think overall revenue grows. So 15% of a bigger number, but we don't have this future where I think 50 to 70% of our revenue comes from subscriptions. He also stated that Game Pass growth is slowing on console, where he says, quote, mainly because at some point you've reached everybody on console that wants to subscribe. And he added that PC growth has been incredible. Now, I want to speak to the folks out there who are saying that, the growth on consoles is pretty much done. They're not really going to grow much more. Game Pass is finished on console. It's going to grow in the PC and mobile space. But as for consoles, everybody who's going to sign up has already signed up. Yes and no. Everybody who wants to currently sign up has signed up. But that doesn't have any reflection on what is going to happen in the future. I mean, if you think about it, guys, this past year has been kind of a joke when it comes to AAA games being dropped into Game Pass. There wasn't very many of them. And so that value just wasn't there for many gamers. Now, what happens if you change that the following year or the year after that, and it continues to add more value to a service? More people flock to that service. Also, don't forget, the more consoles that are sold, this generation has just begun. We're close to 2 years now into this generation. We've got another 6+ years at least in this generation. To say that Game Pass is kind of done on the console side is kind of ridiculous. And let me tell you why this is being said. Right now, Phil Spencer and company do not want to get more eyeballs on them during this whole ABK deal process. The CMA are already looking into them. Sony's already complaining about them. They don't want Game Pass to look all that enticing right now. They don't want Game Pass to look like it's going to make any more than 15% of their overall Xbox revenue right now. They don't want Game Pass to look like the juggernaut it has the potential to be. Phil is the CEO of this company. He's just trying to kind of lay the groundwork here and say, yeah, it's profitable, but they're in a situation where they don't need any more scrutiny. It's obvious what's going on here. At least this is the way I see it. I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments down below if you see it this way too. But to say that Game Pass on console is done growing is kind of ludicrous. And a lot of people are out there spreading that narrative. And that's not what he said here, but I get it. He's alluding to the fact that it will only be about 15% of Xbox total revenue, which he can't say for sure, but he's going to lowball it right now because he doesn't want any more scrutiny. Now, this next quote I feel is the most important of this entire thing here, and it's this. We've held price on our console, we've held price on our games, and our subscription. I don't think we'll be able to do that forever. He goes on, I do think at some point we'll have to raise some prices on certain things. Now, folks, anytime I hear about raising prices as a consumer, I don't like it. I don't care who it is, especially when we just heard about how you were being profitable. You had some record numbers this last quarter. Yeah, as a consumer, I do not want to hear about you raising prices. I mean, if you think about it, Sony just raised their prices of their consoles just a couple of months back, which I took issue with, of course, as a consumer. I mean, 2 years into a console generation is usually when you bring down the prices of a console. console. So if they raise their price of their console like Sony did, that's a huge L. I'm sorry, there's no way other to say it than yes, that is a huge L if they do that. Because they kind of came out right after Sony did it and said, hey, we're not going to do this, and they did give some sort of speech like it could happen in the future sort of thing. But as a consumer, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about raising prices. Now, I did hear a rumor that Xbox was losing on these consoles with every sale. I don't know if it's true or not, but this is a rumor I heard. If that's so, even then, it's an L because they just had a record-breaking profit quarter. I don't want to hear it as a consumer. Now, if it's the game prices to $70, folks, you know I've been pushing that we shouldn't be paying $70 for these games, and I've held out for so long not buying a $70 game, but it's inevitable. All these companies are going to $70. It sucks because we're not getting $10 more of value in these games. These games aren't doing $10 more than they were last generation. And in fact, most of these games can be played on last generation consoles as well for $60. You're essentially getting the same experience for $10 less over there. And before you say it, oh, but we get ray tracing and we get adaptive triggers and blah, blah, blah. Guess what? So does PC, and at a cheaper price, mind you. Okay, maybe not the adaptive triggers, but they can use the PS5 controller on PC. Anyways, my point is, we're not getting an extra $10 of value in these games. We're just not. And they are making profits on these games. But it's inevitable. This whole $70 game prices is going to be the standard going forward, so I feel that's coming for Xbox as well. Now, talking about Game Pass. Well, right now you're looking at Game Pass Ultimate at $15 a month. Let's say they go up to $20 a month, and they get into that territory where Sony's got their premium service for $20. If they hit that $20 mark, here's what they have to do. Because yes, we all know services go up in price eventually, but you have to have that value. You have to have that value added there. So every quarter, Xbox, every quarter you've got to have at least one AAA banger of a game every quarter. Not an indie title, not a AA. We're talking at least a $60 value there, because if you do the math, that's $240 a year at $20 a month. And if you buy 4 games a year, or if you were to buy those 4 games that would be in Game Pass every quarter, again, that's $240. So everything else, the indie titles and all that, and I like my indies too. Occasionally, I like to play those games too, and that's what I like about the service. They got so much there for you to consume outside of those AAA bangers. But for me, and for, I think, a lot of people out there, it's those AAA bangers going in there day and date that really get people subscribed to that service. Everything else is kind of extra. So annually, you need at least 4 AAA bangers. That's the bottom line. That's what's needed there. If you raise prices on that service, you better have that added value. And with all the acquisitions that they've had in the past, including the ZeniMax deal and all the Bethesda Arcane Studios and all those other studios they've gotten in the past, as well as what's to come in the ABK deal, if that passes, then there shouldn't be an issue with putting 4 AAA bangers in there day and date every year. That should be pretty easy to do. I don't know. I know Microsoft has a hard time getting those games out, but that's what you need in a service like this. And I could totally see it happening, especially at that price point. And I'm not advocating for a price hike. On the contrary, I do not want a price hike. But I know with certain things, it's inevitable. You got to be a total moron out there if you don't think that a subscription-based service with more value being added isn't going to go up in price. I mean, that's inevitable. But again, that value has to be added. Anyways, folks, let me know what you think about all this down below. And until next time, game on.